Hey everyone, it's CurlyHairedHero, and welcome back to Prince of Tennis 2005 Console Drive. We are getting pretty close to the end of this series, because kind of running out of tournaments. But today we're going to be doing the M-1 Trial Singles Tournament. All of the Trial Singles tournaments have just a letter and then -1 for some reason. But as has become tradition for these this format, we are just going to be picking 3 of the same character because I can't be bothered to switch them in between games. So we're going to actually be playing 3 Mizukis. Mizuki is a character that I've actually used a lot. We'll actually be using 4 Mizukis. He's a character I've been using a lot throughout this series, but he's just been mainly as a coach, just to have him there. It's either usually... I only have I choose maybe 4 coaches. It's just Sasaki, Ryuzaki, and then Mizuki, and that's about it. Ryuzaki's really good. She's the old lady from Segaku because she just gives everyone full gauge. Sasaki gives you half awakening mode, or Sasaki, or Saisaki. And then Mizuki just doesn't let your opponent use any abilities for a game or something like that. I don't really use them often. I just kind of have them there to look at the bench, to be on the bench and look at me. Because often I don't really use the coach abilities in games. I kind of use it in between games, and usually then it's just to quickly get some gauge, and that's about it. It seems that for the M1 tournament, we actually got max gauges here, which is kind of interesting. So we can actually just cheese through this. I actually went ahead and I practiced this tournament a little bit just to get back into the swing of things. Originally, what I was going to do instead of this M1 tournament was the Ultimate Doubles tournament. So it's the ultimate version of doubles. We did singles some time ago, and there should be an ultimate mix match at some point. But I'll probably do that not not recorded. I don't know, we'll see what happens. I don't think it gives you anything. But I tried Ultimate Doubles and I just got fucking demolished. Absolutely and utterly destroyed. And I was just like, wow, well, this is really hard. And as you may have already noticed, I'm just coming back from the small hiatus that we took a couple of months ago. And I put up an update video before this video goes up, but basically I had to go and get major surgery done. I had a kidney transplant, and doing good now, but obviously that took a lot out of me, and I had to recover from that whole ordeal. So I couldn't update, or I couldn't upload videos, or I couldn't record videos, edit videos for some time. But now we're back, and coming back from that surgery and then playing Ultimate Doubles and getting my ass kicked, I was just like, oh my fucking god, this is crazy. Which was bad enough because I was originally having some reservations of trying to start recording again, because I was just feeling, I wasn't feeling really in the mood. I think I've talked about it before, where I just sometimes I don't feel as creative or able to really get into it, right? Sometimes I can just sit here and talk for 20 hours about some bullshit, and the game will just go through, and that's just kind of how Prince of Tennis is. And sometimes I can go in depth into the actual game itself, but there are some times where I just can't do any of it, and I'm just kind of not feeling it. And I've tried to force myself through recording those times, and it just doesn't really work out. Whoops, I don't know why I ran out afterwards, but alright. It just doesn't really make good videos ever. Ever. It never ever does, right? So I've decided to, rather than just put out shitty videos, I'm just going to try my best to, make good videos. Oh, he just forces me to run up for some reason. Interesting. I'm gonna just try and, only record when I'm, ready to record, which makes it kind of difficult, because there are a lot of times oh, I need to get this video done, but it's oh, but I'm not really feeling it. But it's alright, punk ass, we don't really have a choice right now, right? This video needs to come out tomorrow or whatever. So it creates pretty interesting situations like that I have to try to figure out how to manage. But in any case, since I got destroyed in Ultimate Doubles, I decided to go ahead and try the M1 tournament instead. And it was literally the other side of the coin, because it was just easy as hell. Especially given the fact that Mizuki is one of those characters that's perfect for it. Because not only do I not need to turbo constantly into awakening mode, so I can constantly use specials. This already gives you max specials, but then also Mizuki has a serve special, and he also has a baseline special. So on offense and when serving or not serving, I can just spam a special, and my opponent will not return it. I think I've gotten up to like this. I don't know if it just gets harder as we go on, but I got up to, I believe it was like the semifinals, and then they actually started returning my hits, which was interesting because I've never seen the difficulty ramp up as I went further into a tournament throughout this whole ordeal. So that was kind of shocking to say the least. But yeah, the Ultimate Doubles is just one of those tournaments where, like, unlike here where you can just easily hit some winners, hit some specials, and you're good to go. No, the doubles team, they return everything. They don't give a shit about your specials, they don't give a shit about your winners, they don't give a shit about anything. And, you know, since it's doubles, it makes it even harder because it's two opponents you have to face off against, while also having a computer partner who may or may not be good. I actually took it on with Otari, and he's like maxed doubles level, so he was actually pretty good, but like I was just a dead weight on the team, to be honest. So when you're playing against two really good players and you only got one really good computer player on you, I was kind of like just fucking everything up, unfortunately. Yeah, he just, for whatever reason, makes you run up there, but alright. I actually got a game off of us. Wow. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this up. After Jackal actually won a game against us, he won again and won another game. I don't know what the hell was going on, but he just went to super mode, and for some reason, I just could not return any of his serves. They were just coming in like hot balls of fire. I just realized this whole team has power players, but yeah, I was trying to do literally Jesus Christ. Trying to do literally anything against his serves, and I just could not return it for some reason. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Especially for some reason, the opponent sometimes returns his special, which I never really understood what was going on there. Because I'll easily just like hit a winner and I'll just be like, ah, fuck. Like, you know, the usual stuff you see in these kinds of games. But then other times they're like, nope, I'm gonna hit that shit, I'm gonna hit the next shit, I'm gonna hit the following shit, bro. You're not getting anything past me. I don't know. But anyways, we're gonna handedly take down this first game here with Mizuki and his crossed-ass legs. That's gonna be pretty easy with our team of 4 Mizukis here against his power team and Inui for some reason. I guess they're the bronze of his brains. He's 22 special shots, which is quite a lot, but you'll see here they hit, I guess, a couple of faults, but oh, I have a bunch of service aces because of my special. But yeah, those 10 service aces were from Jackal. He just hit like 6 in one game and won the entire game, and I was like, bro, what the fuck is going on? In any case, let's go ahead and move on to the next round here. We'll keep our lineup. No need to change that up right now. The maximum overkill. Oh, interesting. That's why we have full specials. Interesting. I didn't know the M stood for something. I wonder what the other ones do. So I guess if there's a U1, it's probably going to be the Ultimate Trial Singles. Okay, that's good to know. What did we did an R1? That's the only one I can remember. Honestly, I just remember doing R1, and that's about it. All right, let's take on Otari here, good old buddy from back in the day. Oh fuck. Mizuki's, you know, kind of interesting. I went over his coach special, which just kind of blocks out, the opposing player for like using any specials in, I believe, the entire game. Let's see if that comes out true, because I really don't want to deal with Kaido's snake shit making me run all over the place, and I don't know, I'm just not. I'm usually really good at returning serve in this game. Like, I'm constantly getting return aces, but it just does not seem to be my day. There we go. But other than sealing up the opponent's special, he has this, which is sort of just like, kind of like a straight shot. Not really sure what's going on there, if there's any sort of special property to it. I don't think there is. He also has this special, which is supposed to be like data tennis. And it just lets you see where the ball is going to land. which is fine, but it does have the added benefit of increasing his speed. He has a base speed of 3 out of 5, which is, you know, fine, but that special actually raises it up all the way to 5, which is cool. So not only do you get to see where the ball is going to land, but you also just move a lot faster. So I think most of them do something similar like that. I don't know, I find that kind of cool. And then he has this boomerang serve, which is, I guess, like an even crazier twist serve, because it just goes really, really, really wide and then curves back in. And then you can obviously alternate between A and B, and he curves in or out, depending on which one you press. So he's a pretty simple character to play with. His stats are, you know, pretty fine. They're nothing crazy. If he goes into Awakening mode, he's actually pretty decent, because a lot of his stats are like around the 3s and 4s, and then after that it becomes 4s and 5s. So he becomes a really solid character. But then that's about it. There are definitely worse characters in the game, and there are definitely better characters in the game, so he's just kind of there. Just kind of like true of like his existence in the series as a whole, where he's kind of just there. They kind of had Inui as like, they made this really big push in the series for what they call data tennis, which is just, you know, characters studying how other players play and figuring out how to beat them using, you know, strategies and tactics and stuff like that. They try to make it like this big thing. They were a little bit ridiculous about it in Prison Tennis, but then they just kind of tried to introduce more characters that use that sort of playstyle, and Mizuki was one of them. But he was kind of like an oddball. He was also like the coach of his team, and he had like, I think he had like recruited a bunch of like other really good players, like that one guy with like the weird, like the only brown skinned guy in the whole game. I think he had like recruited him from like some other school, and he had like gotten a bunch of other really good players to like try and like win and whatnot. And he was trying to like sort of like game the system by like, getting all these good players and like studying everything, you know. So he was like very calculated. But of course he ended up losing, and he didn't really do much else after that. You know, a lot of the other characters you kind of see them from time to time, but when it comes to Senku Rodolfo, you really don't see any of those characters again ever, aside from maybe Yuta a little bit, just because he happens to be Futa's brother, which has been unfortunate. I feel like every other team gets some sort of representation or like some sort of visibility throughout the series. I could be wrong, I could be forgetting some parts, but that's about it. And the only other thing they do is that one of the players here in this team, the guy with the headband, is related to one of the guys from, you know, Aoi's team, and I'm sure that that's a thing that happens at some point. And I think you can unlock in this game a skin for each player, which is basically, they're both twins, right? And they're both in different schools, and you can basically unlock the twin pretending to be the other twin in the opposite school as a skin for both characters. And it just basically lets you play as like, you dress up as like, you know, you're from the opposite school, but then you get to use the other school's twin special, which is kind of interesting. I don't really know how to unlock those yet. I just discovered this recently. I had seen it before, but I don't really know how to unlock it. And there's a couple of other characters that have skins like those. Not to that extent, but there are a couple characters that just have skins in general that I've been trying to figure out how to unlock, but I can't really seem to find too much information on it online, as is per usual with this game. The only way that I ever find anything is just this one GameFAQs post from like 2003 or 4 or something like that, right? Well, no, it must have been like 2006 or 8, because this came out in 2005, right? And that's it, and that's just where I get all of my information from. Thankfully, it's been, for the most part, like 90% accurate. There have been a couple of tournaments that I finished and I didn't get the characters that I thought I was going to get. But there are also a couple of times where I just read it wrong or copied it wrong and I screwed myself up, like the mess we did in, I think, season 4 or 5. But, yeah, hopefully we can get those eventually. I'm assuming they'll just show up in Smith shops and I'll buy it. But right now we're kind of at the point where I have everything from Smith's shop except for like the cards and some of the goods, and the food is always going to be there. We're going to take these guys down pretty handily. I'm not really sure what was the theme for this team, but they were not really that big of a deal. Yeah, it just kind of like seems like random people from each school, more or less. I don't know. I don't really understand. That's fine. Not gonna complain. We're gonna easily walk through this and go into the quarterfinals. Or no, this was the quarterfinals. We're gonna walk into the semifinals. Take care of yourself.